assassin. Dear assassin.
Ooh, it's right up here. All right, good morning, everybody. How's Big Omaha so far? All right, so I got to meet some of you yesterday, but I'd like to get a little bit better feel for who's in the audience this morning. So can you raise your hand for me if you're already running your own business? I'm going to try to see you guys. OK. And then raise your hand for me if you're thinking about starting your own business right now. All right, so I'm mostly talking to you guys as a reasonably new entrepreneur myself. And I'm sorry to have to start Friday morning off on a little bit of a bad note because I have some bad news for you. Your idea sucks. It's probably really bad. If it's anything like mine, it's like really, really terrible. Our first idea from Artsicle was awful. If you're lucky, somebody actually cares about it, but they still probably don't want to pay for it. This is where we could start, and what happens next is you get to build it anyway. So this was my first idea for Artsicle. We were going to be Netflix plus Sotheby's for art. I have no idea what that means. I presented this slide, and I think there's some Comic Sans handing out down there in the illustration, to our first set of investors, confident that this is what we were going to build. We were effectively building a form of Kickstarter for artists. And it was awesome. The model was great, it was going to make money, and there was one small flaw. The artist wanted nothing to do with it. So we had this plan. We were going to go out and meet a couple of artists. This was going to be quick to validate. Everybody was into this idea. We were going to give artists money for free, effectively, right? Nothing wrong with that idea. It turned into 3 full days of going door to door to studios, asking artists for feedback, until finally something clicked that was an idea that sucked a little bit less, and we knew that we had to build it. So this is the first homepage for Artsicle that we launched. Designed by yours truly in PowerPoint under my desk at my day job. So if there's one piece of advice I can give you about your probably somewhat shitty idea, is that you need to ship it. And I'm a strong believer in arbitrary deadlines. So we gave ourselves a completely arbitrary deadline to launch this site. It was Art Basel in Miami. Have you guys heard of that event? We were going to launch this. I was quitting my job at Thanksgiving. The event is the first week of December. And we were going to launch this site, and we were going to take Miami by storm. We had flyers. There were 2 of us. We were just going to take it over. And it is quite possibly the biggest failure we ever had. I mean, it fell on its face. Basically, we stood at the entrance of the conference center and told people where the bathroom was, because that's what they assumed we were doing, standing out there handing out flyers. It wanted nothing to do with my product. But we learned something, because we got out of the building, and we were talking to customers. And it got better. We went back to New York, and we rewrote the site, and this is what we ended up with. And all of a sudden, something started to happen. People started to order things. They started to pay us for things. We knew we were onto something. We were iterating. And one of the most important things in your startup toolkit is your ability to iterate and to pivot and to experiment really, really rapidly. So we were changing this every day. We were changing the pricing. We were changing the colors. We were getting feedback. Something bad started to happen, though, as well. We started to drink our own Kool-Aid a little bit. We started to believe in how awesome we were. We were so awesome. People were paying us for stuff. It was the best feeling in the world. But in our hearts, we knew we were falling short of what we wanted to build. We weren't scaling it the way we wanted to scale it. We weren't reaching the number of artists we wanted to reach. And so last year, we made a hard decision to start to throw out the old model and rebuild it. Build it the way we wanted to build it. So we're 3 pivots in, and I can say that we're finally building the product that we set out to build at the beginning. We're finally building a platform for the world's artists to be discovered and for you to connect directly with them. But it's been really hard, and there have been more times when it was easier to quit than it was to go forward. And there are a couple of tools that I've kind of realized over time are in my toolkit that have kept me from quitting. So I'm going to share with you guys the first couple of things that I've learned that have kept me going, even 3 pivots in, and no telling how many bad experience. First one, delusional self-confidence. There's a reason I'm saying delusional. Normal, healthy self-confidence is not going to cut it. You've got to be a little crazy about how much you believe in yourself and in your business. You've got to believe it beyond anything that logic or even your mother can back up. This was my first real moment of delusional self-confidence. This is a couple weeks after we launched Artsicle, and I am standing on the stage in front of about 1,000 people at the New York Tech Meetup. You can see the site behind me is not actually loading properly. That's how new it is. And I am pitching my vision for what Artsicle will be in the future, in 5 years, in 10 years, how it's going to put the art world on its head. I had no idea what the vision for Artsicle was yet. We were making it up as we go. We were winging it. But we needed some of the people in that audience to quit their comfortable jobs and come work for us. And we needed some of the other people in that audience to part with their hard-earned money and fund us. And they didn't need to believe in maybe. They needed to believe in us, delusionally self-confident that we could do this. We got more delusional. This is another real slide. I swear my slides got better at some point, that I showed to investors. And you can see I had a little bit of reality in me. Alpha launch, beta launch, flat line. I didn't think I was going to take off and have the next huge company immediately. But somewhere around the middle of 2013, which would have been our 3rd year, boom, Artsicle explodes. And we're making $30 million at the end of our 36th month. Now, some of you may have seen this slide before, if you happen to be investors in the room, because somewhere along the way, some investor said, I like to invest in companies that make about $30 million at the end of their 3rd year. And now we all do this. But the other thing that's important about this is how much I believed it, and how much I still believe it, even though I maybe know that I need to adjust my timelines a little bit, because lines don't really go like this, they kind of go like this. Right? You've got a little bit of reality in me, but I was delusional enough to walk into investors' offices and pitch this and convince them that we were worth funding and that we were worth getting behind. So every delusion needs a little bit of a counterpoint, which is where friends and co-founders come in. And I put friends into 2 categories. There's the important category that I affectionately call normals. These are my non-tech friends. They could care less about Artsicle, but they care about me. And they don't know anything about fundraising or acquisitions, and they think it's all a little nuts, and they keep me really sane and grounded. And you cannot undervalue these people's role in your life. But then you have your founder friends. This is my friend Catherine Minshew and I letting off some steam at South by Southwest. Somewhere along the way, I started to make founder friends. And I now have a group of women in New York that I can regularly grab breakfast with, and we have one rule. When I ask you how you're doing, the answer is not, I'm crushing it. Right? The answer is something real. The answer is, you're getting your ass kicked, and you need to talk about it. That your best employee is about to quit, and you don't know what's going to happen next. That your bank account is empty, and we're there for each other. So when I first started Artsicle, I came to a lot of events like this. I went to a lot of meetups. I met as many people in the industry as I could. And I spent a lot of energy networking. I spent a lot of energy trying to make sure that I met whoever in this room could help me build my business. And I was making a huge mistake because I was ignoring my peers. My peers turned out to be the people that were the most valuable to me as I've built this business over the last couple of years. We jokingly call ourselves the class of 2010. It feels like a high school sometimes because those of us who were getting our businesses off the ground in 2010 in New York are this tight-knit group now. Some businesses have failed, some have sold, lots have pivoted, but we still have each other's backs. We went through the same problems together, even if it was just figuring out how to pay our taxes for the first time. Right? We had each other's backs. The other thing that comes with founder friends, is what I like to call luck surface area. So you don't have a lot of opportunities for luck if you stay at home. But when you have founder friends who know what's really going on, not what you're saying on the surface, but what's really going on, they can put the right opportunities in front of you. There have been hundreds of opportunities that have come across my plate because a founder friend knew what I really needed and was able to increase my luck surface area. So this afternoon, when we get out of here, go spend some time finding the other people in the exact same place that you are right now, that are looking at starting their business or growing their business in the same place where you are. Those people will be incredibly valuable to you and will be true, real friends for you. And then there's co-founders. So I'm a little unique. My co-founder is also my significant other, and I will have to live with this for the rest of my life, one of the 18 hottest power couples in tech. I'm sure my children will get a kick out of this someday. But no matter who your co-founder is, you're going to be married to each other. You need to be able to share your deepest personal fears. You need to be able to open up your bank accounts to each other and be just brutally honest with what your needs are and what your worries are. You need to share each other's values. I can't stress that part enough. Skills, you will figure out. You need to share each other's values. There are an incredible number of opportunities in a startup to quit. There's also an incredible number of opportunities to stretch your values into a place that is not true to who you are, and a co-founder that you believe in and who believes in you will keep you in line. So find a great co-founder, find great founder friends, take your delusional self-confidence, and then find a world-changing dream. Now, again, the phrasing is important here. It's a world-changing dream. It's not just any dream that you might just happen to be thinking about building. It's not a profitable dream. It's not a dream that you think the market's ready for. Because when it gets hard, and it's going to get really hard at some point, you need to be working on something bigger than yourself. And that's going to keep you going. It's going to keep you motivated. For me, that world-changing dream was about artists. So I woke up one day and realized I worked for the credit card industry. Fascinating, profitable, not something I was ever going to be passionate about at all. But there was something I was really passionate about. I was passionate about supporting today's artists and helping them to get their work onto your walls, into the walls of your friends, and to make a living doing it and be able to continue creating this beautiful work that can surround us. And I knew that the only way that that was going to happen was me doing something about it, me getting a little delusional and going out there and building something. So these artists are the reasons that I get up in the morning. They're the reason when things are really bad or you're just not sure if you're on the right path, and quitting is the easy path that you keep going. Those friends who say, like, I've been there, don't worry about that, I've been there 5 times. Have you guys heard the phrase that startups don't die, they commit suicide? There's a reason for that. My bank account has been empty more times than I care to count. Right? Running out of money doesn't kill a company. It's never going to kill a company. You stop building a company when you decide to stop, when you stop typing. Nobody dies mid-keystroke. Right? So having this support network around you, having friends to tell you they've been there, having a co-founder you don't want to let down, having confidence in what you're building, and having a dream that you can make something bigger than yourself, like my dream for these artists, has kept me going for 4 years now. And going back to where we started, no ideas really suck. They're going to get better. You need to have faith in innovation. You need to build it anyway. You need to go out there and build your dream. And I'm confident that you'll be up here telling me about how you're winging it and what it feels like every morning to jump out of an airplane, build your parachute on the way down, and build something great. Thank you.
Some more love for Alexis Tryon. Let's start with, if you have questions, please come on up to a microphone for Alexis, and we can ask those. Why only 18 hot couples in tech? What's that about? There are only 18?
I don't know, but I do know that Bill Gates was right behind us in that, and that's the part I'm proud of.
Nice. Can you talk a little bit about that delusional optimism? Of course, you're going to run up against people who are going to say, listen, we do care about you. We are your dear friends, and we're worried. Alexis, we're really worried. How do you balance delusional optimism with reality? Or are you saying, look, ignore reality altogether and just go all in?
Some days you don't. Some days you just have to be delusional, and you just have to believe in it. I remember a day a good friend of mine was in New York, one of my normal friends, no idea what I was working on, really. And at breakfast, I told her, I think I need to go into my team and tell them to start looking for other jobs. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make payroll. This isn't fair to them. I need to shut it down. And then something happened that afternoon. I think a couple of customers renewed that I thought were going to cancel, and the team was actually crushing it. Like, things were going really well. And then I had dinner with her that night before she went out of town, and I told her about my IPO plans. And I was dead serious. I had just seen some numbers and compared our numbers and been like, that's it. Next year, we're going to do that. We're going to IPO. And it was truly delusional. And she was looking at me like I was nuts. She was being my balance and my reality, but I still needed to believe it. So the short answer is, sometimes you just need to divorce yourself from reality a little bit and believe it that much to keep going.
And just to follow up on that briefly, and we'll take a question over here in just a second. When you're rocking delusional optimism, and obviously it's got you to the stage here today and the awesome work that you're doing. When you are in business with your partner, your significant other, are both of you two like rocking delusional optimism full on? Like, yo, that couple is crazy. They said they're gonna fly to the moon next week. How does that work?
I think that's the reason it's important to have a co-founder, is because you balance each other out. So what Scott and I have found is that when I get down, he understands that he can't be down. He has to go up. He has to keep the team up. They're going to follow his lead, and vice versa. And I know a lot of people who've done this alone, and I have a ton of respect for them. But I know for me personally, having that balance so that you don't have to be up at the same time, that I can just vent everything that's going on to me. Nobody really understands what you're going through like a co-founder does. Tell him everything, and he's like, okay, you go deal with that. I'm going to go back to being delusional, right? He's going to carry it for a little while. So I think, no, we're not quite that over the moon.
Fantastic. Again, if you have a question, please join me right up here at one of these microphones. Let's go right over here to this gentleman.
Hi. Thanks for your presentation. Yuri Bats from William Jewell College. I was wondering, they say that every entrepreneur has three persons in him, like a dreamer, a realist, and a critic. Who are you, and what other people are on your team to, maybe balance it out? I guess it's related to this idea of being delusional.
I'm guessing you guys can guess which one I am. I'm definitely the dreamer. My co-founder, Scott, is 100% our realist. And actually, when you're looking for a co-founder, I think there's a lot of things that you're looking for outside of kind of the values match and other things. People are looking for skills match. And we joke that I'm a starter, I'm a vision person, he's a finisher. He likes to make things actually happen in the world. And that balance as a set of co-founders has been incredibly important to our ability to actually get things done and kind of make progress. Our first employee was our critic. That was not, I don't know, it worked out. It actually worked out great. At the time, it was hard as hell, but like that's startups, because he was critical, but he was right. And listening to him was painful, but it actually helped us move forward as a company.
You had a pretty awesome quote that got a lot of love online earlier saying, increase your luck surface area. I'm going to get a T-shirt made with that on it first. Can you just delve in a little bit more into that in ways that you regularly are able to, in your team, to create that luck surface area?
Absolutely. And being lucky is such an important part of being an entrepreneur. But luck doesn't just kind of come through the ceiling and hit you. You have to be waiting for it. You've got to be out there, and people need to know what luck looks like for you. So if a huge partnership for us was going to be a lucky break, it kind of helps if you tell some people that you're looking for that huge partnership so they can help you get lucky. Right? That's luck surface area for me. That is like, here's my problem, and it could be as simple as I personally need a new apartment. Help me figure that out. Or I professionally need to hire this person. And I mean, as you meet people today and here in the Omaha community, the more that you share that information, what you really need. I try really hard when I'm meeting people, at an event to ask that one question, before you walk away from each other. By the way, is there anything that you really need help with right now? Give them an opportunity to increase their luck surface area, because more often than not, you'll have an answer for them. You'll have something you can help with.
I think we notice sometimes as well that a lot of people, the same people have a lot of luck, right? It's never just random. It's like the same people. Like, why is that person always lucky? There's something going on there. Let's go to this question right over here.
So Artsicle is obviously a very innovative, kind of fresh
Can you start that
idea.
Can you start that from the top? We missed it.
So Artsicle is a very fresh, innovative concept and company, so it probably took some education on your end. So I guess as far as sales and marketing, what has been the most successful for you in the last few years?
Great question. I think we've been unique. We've been really successful with empowering our artists to be our marketers in a lot of ways, and helping them learn that when they share their work, they're bringing up the entire community. So an effect that we've seen on the site recently is that when an artist shares a new piece that they posted and someone comes to the site, on average, they look at another 8 to 10 profiles of artists. So they actually, to go back to what we were just talking about, increase kind of everyone's luck surface area, right? They're increasing everybody's exposure levels. Similarly, we've had a lot of really, really great advocates for our business who are art lovers, people who aren't necessarily going to be our customers, but they're excited about what we're doing. They're excited about our mission and our vision for the way the world should be, and they get the word out for us in a way that paid advertising kind of never quite would for something like art, which is really hard to find people right in that moment when they're looking for it.
Hey, Alexis. So let's see if we can increase your luck service area. What's something that all of us can do to help Artsicle?
Thank you. I like this. You know, we just opened up the platform at the end of the year, and we have 4,000 artists from around the world on it, but we need so many more, and we're ready for so many more. So if you can tell all of your artist friends to come create a page on Artsicle, it's free, there's no commission, they're just getting their work out there. I would love to have them. I would love to have a thriving Omaha community on the site. The art's happening right in this neighborhood is amazing, and would love to have it on the site. Thank you.
And could you share with us a little bit more about the future and what's on the horizon as we continue on in 2014 for your company?
Yes, absolutely. So as I said, you know, we've just did this most recent pivot, and we're really in a transition period. So for us, it's about making sure that our artists are getting the most value from the platform and that people are able to discover them. So we're really excited about focusing on local discovery. So if you're visiting in town right now, you could be able to open up our site and find out which artists have open studios that you could go schedule some time at and go buy work right while you're here, go see it in person. Do that when you're traveling. It's something we're working on this year. We're also working on ways to help those artists share more about them, including whether or not they provide lessons, do they do commissions, are they having an upcoming show, kind of organizing all of that data into one place so that everything you want to experience with the arts is organized.
Another question for you. You mentioned earlier getting that support from other founders. I found sometimes it can be extremely competitive, even if you're not in the same industry, and if someone gets a round or something like that that makes you depressed and those types of things. How have you been able to create like really beneficial relationships with other founders, and so they don't get competitive with highs and lows?
You know, I think when you find people that you really trust and that really trust you, the competition goes out the window. I mean, it's there, but it's more like a joking competition at that point. It's like, all right, come on, you've got money in the bank, give me a break. You know, you're in that stage, I'm in this stage. But if they're being real with you, whatever awesome thing they just had announced is probably kicking their ass in some way. So, you know, that huge round of funding they just took just means that they just lost control of their company. So they're ahead, but not. And you're being real with each other, you balance that out. So the competition kind of goes out the window in my experience, but only with a small group of people. This isn't something, you know, my entire kind of class of 2010, I don't necessarily have that relationship with. I have that relationship with 8 people that I would call with anything I needed.
Beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up.